Hi everyone, I'm Carmen. Welcome to my studio. Today we're going to be working on a level 3 class leading towards Ardha, Baddha, Padmottanasana. So that's a standing pose that will begin to teach your legs and your hips the proper actions for Padmasana or full lotus pose. If you have any questions about this class, please leave them in the comments below. I'll do my best to answer those. And yeah, so let's get started. So to begin, have a seat in swastikasana, so cross legs. Cross at the center of your shin bones, bring the feet underneath the knees. Then bring your fingertips beside the outer hips. Press down and lift the hips up a couple times so you can get accustomed to sitting the body down by releasing the outer groins. Release the outer groins, relax the abdomen, and set down on the two buttock bones evenly. Then bring the fingertips to the side, turn the upper arm bones out, and lengthen up through the crown of the head. In doing that, soften the shoulders away from the ears. Release the buttock and the lower back so the weight is evenly distributed across the buttock bones. Then bring the palms together and close the eyes. Breathe in and out through the nose and steer the breath towards the sides of the body, the side ribs. And join me for the sound of Om. Let the mind sit with that sound of Om resonating deep within. And with your exhale, release the head towards the heart center and surrender there. And release the hands with the palms up. Bring the head up with closed eyes. And then gently open the eyes. So we're going to start with child's pose today. So just set the blanket or blankets aside. Bring the knees apart, big toes together. And be aware again of those outer groins. Descend this region down so the buttock descends to the heels. Relax the abdomen, bring the hands forward. Now as you keep the buttock descending, outer groins descending, walk the hands forward. Roll forward through the side ribs. And slowly take the side body forward and the head down. Now, if it feels like you're dropping your head in a hole, just put a block or a blanket under the head. Press the palms down so the forearms are buoyant. And again, feel the breath wide in the sides of the body. Keep the outer groins anchored down. So that is a priority. So be aware of the hips. Don't let them rise up simply to get your head down. Now keep the hands pressing. Lift up. Turn your toes under and take Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward dog. Again, lengthen through the side body, lengthen through the outer armpits, all the way up and back to the outer groins.
And exhale, descend the heel bones down as if the lower half of the buttock were to flow down towards the heels. Feel the width of the body from inside. Looking back towards the feet, spread the mounds of the foot and lift the kneecaps. Lift the kneecaps and press the front thighs to the back thighs. And then walk the hands back to the feet. And be in a soft Uttanasana for a moment. Your fingertips can stay down. Give some weight to your heels. When the weight is in the heels, the hips will fall back a little bit. However, it helps the buttock to descend down. Maintain that. And shift weight also into the mounds of the foot. Hold the elbows if you're stable there. And descend the side body. However, keep your kneecaps lifted so the legs are very sharp and strong. Release even through the sides of the neck and the occipital ridge at the base of the skull. Then walk the hands forward again into downward facing dog. Lengthen through the side waist. Lengthen through the back waist. Now then walk the feet forward to your hands. And inhale and come all the way up to standing. Stand in Tadasana. So from the back waistband, roll the buttock down to the heels and bear weight in the heel bones. Really stamp the heels down from there so that you feel that effect, not just in your heels, but all the way in the outer hips, the outer buttock region. Then broaden the mounds of the foot to lift through the knees, moving your front thighs to the back thighs. Roll the shoulders back and descend the shoulders away from the ears, crown of the head lifting upward. Tadasana. Utthita Trikonasana. With your inhale, jump the legs wide. Now with the standing poses, I'm normally going to say to jump your legs apart. However, if you have injuries in the waist or in the lower back or the hips or the knees, feet, just step, it's fine. Turn your legs to the right. So left foot turns in, right leg turns out. Bear weight in the left heel bone more and more. So really feel that anchoring again, not just in your heel, but notice how that affects the outer gluteal region, outer hip as well. Front thigh into the back thigh on that back leg. Now then, with your exhale, come out over the right leg. Grasp just above the right ankle. And again, press that left heel down, left thigh back. So feel, especially for this first triangle pose, how the back leg is the dominant leg. Now, as you bear weight in the back leg, bear weight also in the mound of the right big toe and lengthen the right side waist. Inhale, lift from the left arm, come up and change sides. So again, right heel bone down. So the outer right hip is awakened, is in, right? Right thigh
back towards the wall that's at your back. Then lengthen out through the left leg. Grasp above the ankle, but again, now press into the right heel. Really work that back leg initially in order to lengthen and open the low back sacral region. So there's an openness that will come there, but there's also an awakening that comes to the front of the right side of your abdomen when it's the back leg, right? So there's a lift there in the frontal body. Now, as you maintain that, bear weight in the mound of the left big toe and lengthen the left side waist. Inhale, lift through the top arm, come up. Turn the feet forward and jump. Tadasana. So we're doing that just one more time. Inhale, jump the legs, turn to the right. And with your exhale, come on in. So feel how you begin where we left off. Side waist long. Now as you press the left heel and the left thigh moves back, flow in the abdomen from right to left. Turn from the lower ribs to the chest towards that upper left hand. Now as you strengthen through your legs, shoulder blades down the back, turn the gaze and begin to look up towards that left hand. So the left arm's reaching so much and the left heel presses so much, you should almost feel like you have to hold on with your right hand there to keep from springing back up. Let your gaze be soft. Shoulders and head leaning back as the legs support you. Then inhale, come on up. Change sides. Come on in. So the more and more you activate that right heel down and reach up through the right arm, feel how if you hold on with your left hand, there's a spreading that can occur beneath the collarbones. Look for that, particularly as you press the right heel, right thigh back, and the abdomen can flow towards the right hand. Follow that by turning the ribs and the chest towards the right hand and look upward with a soft gaze. So we are working standing poses, so the legs should feel quite dominant. In standing poses, when the legs are strong, you begin to take the opportunity to lift, and that enhances the pranic action in the pose. Then lift from that top arm, come up, turn your feet forward. Exhale, jump, Tadasana. Now we're moving on with Utthita Parsvakonasana. So inhale and jump. Turn your feet towards the right. Bear weight in the left heel, left thigh back. Now bend the right leg to a square, weight in your right heel, and bring the right hand down, left arm up, just like you did in Trikonasana there a moment ago. Now, bear weight in your left heel. Take the left thigh back once again, and bear weight in the right heel, and roll the right knee back towards your right arm. So that as both heel bones bear weight, observe how your inner back leg can awaken. So there's a lift from that inner left ankle towards the inner left thigh. Observe how that can create even a greater lift through the left arm. Now listen, maintain that. Press into the mound of your right big toe. Now we're going to transition from here to Utthita Trikonasana. So lift now from your outer right knee into your outer right hip. You should feel almost like you're reeling that region in. Your right hand may stay on the ground, or you may grab the ankle again. That's your choice. But now press into the left heel and turn the chest, turn the gaze towards that left hand. Look right up there at that left thumb. Stand in the two legs so the tailbone is beneath you. The tailbone in this case should be in the body. Then inhale, lift from that left arm, come up. Turn your feet forward and change sides. Right heel down, reach through the right arm. Bend the left leg to a square. Bring the left hand down behind that leg. Right arm up, just like this. I know a Padmasana, you know the arm often goes overhead. We're not doing that today. Now press into the right heel, so the right thigh is back. Roll the left leg back into your left arm. Feel that both heel bones bear weight. And awaken the back right leg from the inner ankle to the inner thigh. So there's a lift there in that inner right leg all the way up towards your right hand. Breathe. Bear weight into both heels, taking the tailbone in. Lengthen the front spine from the pubic bone to the chest and roll the shoulders back and the head back as you rely on the two legs. Then begin to lift from that outer left knee into the outer left hip. Build Trikonasana in that way. So the mound of your left big toe then bears weight and the right heel bone bears weight. Flow and turn the chest towards that right thumb. Inhale, lift from the top arm, come up, turn the feet forward. And with your exhale, jump. Tadasana. Now once again, Utthita Parasvakonasana. Jump. Turn the legs to the right. Left heel down. Bend the right leg to a square. Now this time, we're going to bring the right arm inside of the right leg. Left arm straight up. Bear weight in the two heels, but now feel how your right shoulder can lean back into that right leg, encouraging the outer right hip beneath you. So careful not to straighten or begin to straighten that right leg. It tends to want to do that. But roll it back so that as you bear weight on the two heel bones, there's a lift in the pelvic floor, taking the tailbone in and lifting the chest up so the head slightly leans back, and you can even turn and look up at that left thumb. Flow the inner right thigh here towards that inner right knee as you turn the chest to look up. Then inhale, lift from that left arm, come on up. Turn the feet forward. Change sides. Right heel down. Bend the left leg to a square. Flow that inner leg to the inner knee. Bring the hand in front, right arm up. Then weight in the heels. Roll that left shoulder back to the left inner leg. Stand on the two heels so that the pelvic floor lifts towards the chest. Then lean the shoulders and the head back. Stand in the two heel bones as you turn the chest to look upwards. Then lift from that top arm, come up. Turn your feet forward, and with your exhale, jump. Tadasana. So now we're going to take Vriksasana, tree pose, but I want you to, for today, to do this against the wall. I know most of you guys are fine doing tree pose. You don't need the wall. I know. We're just going to do it for the first one, and there's a reason why. I'll show you. So take your heels about 3 or 4 inches away from the wall. So really rely on the wall. Take a moment, bend the knees, and then with the hips touching, press the heels and begin to lift through your knees so that the flesh of the buttock is drawn down more and more and more, so that when the legs fully are straight, The heels bear weight, and you'll feel the low back long and the outer hips firm. Add into that now the spread in the mound of the foot. So the legs become quite active. The skin firms to the muscles, firms to the bones. Now we're going to lift your right leg up. You'll have to lean to the left a little. It's fine. Lift the right leg up, put the heel at your left inner groin. Now put your elbows against the wall and stand in your left heel. Really bear weight in the left heel again. You can even bend the knee, and actually it would be a good thing to bend the knee and roll the buttock down and let the hips come away from the wall. Now my head and my shoulders and my elbows, those are all still on the wall. Keep those on the wall, but bear weight on that left leg more and more, heel particularly. But also spread the mounds of the left foot on the ground. And as you do, lengthen the inner right thigh towards the inner right knee. So it's just that middle thigh to the inner knee. It's about 4 to 5 inches worth of flesh, right? But feel that length, almost like I have a hold of your inner left knee and I'm pulling that inner thigh flesh away from you further and more. So I really want you to catch that action here. And you'll feel as you do, particularly when you spread the mounds of your left foot, that both outer hips are quite firm in towards the midline. Now go ahead and release that right leg. Let's do the left leg. Start all over. Press the heels, feel the buttocks slide down. Lean towards your right, grasp your left ankle, and bring that left foot up. Sorry, my sound system gets in the way. Now, if I were to just stand against the wall, my right hip would protrude out to the right, and I don't want that. So I'm going to bend my knees a little, slide the buttock down, and drive my elbows and my upper arms into the wall so my right hip, my buttock, leaves the wall. But drive that right heel down so the outer right hip hugs in. Very important. Keep the inner right groin soft. It's your outer right leg that should work, even as you spread the mounds of your right foot. Spread the mounds of the right foot from the big toe to the small toe and lengthen this inner left leg now towards your inner left knee. So the inner thigh, that flesh should grow longer and away from you. Look forward. Keep standing deeply on your right leg. Even though the left leg is lifted, it sort of it'll take your attention away from the standing leg. But know that the standing leg is really where the majority of your work should be going on. And then go ahead and release that. Come back to your mat. Stand in Tadasana. Heels, then mounds of the foot. So that when you stand in Tadasana, your buttock is down, your thighs are back, and the tailbone is in. When you find all of that, the outer leg firms to the muscle, to the bone, and the base of the pelvic floor is strong. There's a lift that comes there all the way into your chest. That is that pranic action that I'm asking you to search for that will create lightness and buoyancy and space in the body. Now we're going to bring the right leg up again into Vriksasana. So go ahead and do that right here. Hands to the chest. But now observe your standing leg. That left leg, bear weight there. So the outer hip hugs in. So the inner right thigh can lengthen. And as that inner right thigh lengthens, feel how even the top of the thigh lengthens to the knee. How that knee gently rolls back quite automatically as you get the length to the inner leg. Then take the arms up and lengthen the arms out of the waist. Breathe. And then bring the hands together at the chest and come back to Tadasana. Second side. So all the same things apply. The standing left leg has to become strong first to support this length of the inner right leg or left leg. The stability in the standing leg has to come first to support the length in the inner lifted leg. Hands together. And as you're ready, reach those arms up, lengthen out of the side waist. So consider there's a real dynamic action in this pose that happens from within. And you might even notice I'm leaning a little bit towards my standing leg side, just a little. But that is, go ahead and release and come down. That is catching the prana in the pose. One thing that I try and point out is the yoga poses we see in print, because we see a lot of yoga in print these days, in magazines and stuff like that. Keep in mind, those poses are very infrequently energetically correct. And it's of no fault of the yoga practitioner in those poses, but what happens is you get in a photo set and they say, now stay there, and things like this happen. And you can see this is a very jagged tree pose. This is no prana. There's no prana right now. But the prana happens when we begin to lift. And it doesn't always look like what we're used to seeing. You see, I'm kind of jutted off to this side a little, but there's a huge amount of lift in the pose. So it's learning how the poses come alive, not what the shape is. So I hope that becomes clear as we work together. Come back to Tadasana. Gomukhasana arms. So you're going to take the right arm behind you and up the back. When you do that, the upper arm does turn in, but when the hand is placed on the back, stand in your Tadasana and feel how that lift from inside, from the base of the pelvic floor, works to lift beneath the collarbones. Then the left arm comes up and over. Turn the outer upper left arm forward. Stand in the two legs. This is still a standing pose. So the legs should be dominant. The legs should be the instructor of the pose. Then change sides. Come to Tadasana first. And take that left arm behind. Find your Tadasana legs, even if it means you bend your knees a little bit to descend the buttock. Thighs back so you catch the tailbone, the pelvic floor, and build that lift from inside. Shoulders away from the ears, neck soft, jaw soft. Tadasana. Gomukhasana arms again. So, it's one of those poses that really must be repeated. So now as you stand in your legs, catch the tailbone in, lengthen your left elbow up, lengthen your right elbow down. Lift through both sides of the chest, even the right chest, the armpit chest here should lift. Tadasana, and second side. Work to keep that arm behind you in the middle of the back. It has a tendency for some people to want to cross to the other side to come up. Try and avoid that. Stand in the two legs, right elbow up, left elbow down. Lift even the left front chest. And then Tadasana. Now, we're going to take full Padmottanasana. So, Paschimottanasana arms. So what happens now is both arms come behind the back and the palms face one another. That way, That pinky finger edge pushes right into the center thoracic. Then spread the palms so even the inner hand presses, which helps open the front chest. Stand into the legs and lift the chest. Now, if this is difficult for you, you can hold elbows, you can hold your wrists. But in all cases, the shoulders roll back and the chest can broaden. Okay, now from there, jump the legs apart, not quite as wide as those earlier poses. Padmasana, turn to your right. So I'm mirroring you guys. Stand in the outer left heel bone and lift the chest. Then exhale, turn your chest to the right, lift the chest, and begin to come forward out over that right leg. Press the mound of your right big toe down to firm the outer right hip in. Lengthen the side ribs. Relax the abdomen. And any amount now, come out over that right leg. Continue to work your back leg as the dominant leg. Stand in that left heel. Inner upper left knee rolls back. Then inhale, come up. Turn forward. Change sides. So outer right heel down. Turn your chest to the left, and you'll see that outer left thigh turns with my torso. Inhale, and with your exhale, come out over the left leg, mound of the left big toe down. Firm the outer left hip in as you soften the abdomen. Continue working with that back leg to bring yourself into that full forward extension. Inhale, come on up. Turn the feet forward. Now, release your hands. Take the arms out wide and take your feet wider now for Prasarita Padottanasana. So when the feet get wide here, this is quite a wide stance. The feet will turn slightly out. That's okay. Bring your hands to your waist. Bear weight in the heels so the buttock is down. Roll the corners of the shoulders back, lift the chest, and with your exhale, come forward. Now keep the heels down. Bring your fingertips between your legs. Now, make the feet turn forward and spread the mounds of the foot from big toe to small toe. Firm the outer ankles and the outer legs in so the inner ankles draw up once again. Inhale, roll the side body forward, and with your exhale, bend the elbows and bring the crown of the head down for Prasarita Padottanasana. Now, again, roll the weight into your inner hand so the shoulders lift away from the ears. Keep the abdomen relaxed. As the inner legs lift, the lower abdomen will follow and also lift up. And the crown of the head can come back as much as is possible for you. Feel your toes. You want to know that the toes are still reaching forward rather than trying to grip the mat. Keep the breath wide into the side ribs. And then inhale. Bring the hands to your waist and come all the way up. Heel toe. And step or jump the legs back together. Tadasana. Now, from here, we're going to take Uttanasana. So bring the feet together. Be in Tadasana. Inhale. And with your exhale, bring your fingertips to the floor just a little in front of the toe tips. Again, feel that rocking of the body weight. Get into your heels so that you can flow the lower half of the buttock flesh down.
But add into that the spreading in the mounds of the foot from big toe to small toe. So the kneecaps lift, the front thigh presses into the back thigh, and the back of your upper knees broadens. And those things together begin to bring the hips over the ankles. When that happens, there's a deep lift through the legs. Maintain that. Bring your fingers closer to your toe tips. Inhale. And with your exhale, reach the palm of the hand down. Continue to stand in the legs. So there should still be this sort of pranic lift through the legs that affects the pelvic floor so that your tailbone is in, as opposed to, watch, I'm going to do something that's commonly incorrect, which is the tailbone now is out. My buttock is lifted in an unhealthy way, which means I'm just hanging in my hip joint, as opposed to, ready, tailbone is in, and there's a greater integrity in the pose. Now, from there, inhale, come up. And we're going to come to standing against a wall just for a moment, just by a wall, not against. So your left hand's going to touch the wall. We're going to take Utthita Hasta Padangusthasana. So for that, just have a distance where you can put your hand on the wall so that we don't make the pose today about balance. That's not exactly my primary concern today. Hand at the wall, lift your right leg, first two fingers around your right big toe. Now, just like all those other poses, bear weight in your standing leg. Feel that outer left hip firm in as you bear weight in the heel. And spread the mounds of your left foot so the thigh is back. Your left leg should feel quite firm beneath you. Lift the chest and look forward. Now, maintain your left leg and stretch out through the right leg. Right heel pushes away, but then press into the mound of your right big toe. Press that mound of the foot away from you. Stand into the left leg at the same time and just use your hand at the wall for balance. I don't want balance to distract you from the energy in the legs today. Then bend that leg, put the foot down. Okay, we'll come away from the wall, don't worry. But for the first round, really get that leg action. So right hand into the wall, lift your left leg up, grasp the big toe with the first two fingers. At first, it's a position, right? It's more of a shape than an energy. So when that's happening, the right hip will want to bulge out to the wall. Instead, stand in the right heel. Spread the mound of the right foot. Then, maintaining that, push out through the left heel, mound of the left big toe presses away. So now, stand in that standing leg, press through the mound of your left big toe and firm the outer hips to the midline. When that happens, bring the tailbone in so there's a lift through the pelvic floor all the way to the chest. Then bend that standing leg or that lifted leg and set it down. We can do that in the middle of the room. So let's go ahead and do that at the mat. Again, lift your, now I'm not mirroring you. This is my right leg. Lift your right leg, stand into the left leg. Left thigh back. If you need to still use the wall, just use the wall. Press the mound of the right big toe away and lift the chest so that both outer hips are firm in the body. And then release and change sides. So it's always good to start in Tadasana, right? To remind yourself where that home base is. Bring the left leg up. Both legs now very strong and hugging to the midline so that lift can come from within. So it's so important to remember as we work with our practice and we advance our practice, it's so important to remember that we're not making shapes, we're working with prana. And if we keep that in mind, the poses will progress, there'll be transformation. Without that in mind, it turns a little bit into acrobats, so acrobatics, I guess. So important to remember. Now, we're going back to lifting the right leg with your hand against the wall. Hold the big toe. This is Utthita Parsva Hasta Padangusthasana. Parsva's to the side. So now stand in your left leg.
Get that lift from the inner left ankle, up the inner left leg, and turn your right leg out to the side. So remember back to that Padmasana that we did earlier in class. We rolled the shoulder back, do that here. And then stretch out through the right leg. Now press through the mound of the foot so that outer left hip hugs in. The inner right leg lengthens all the way into the mound of the right big toe. Press that big toe away from you. And then release that leg and change sides. So don't worry about the balance for this first one. We'll work on balance with the second one. You can stay at the wall if you want or not. Left leg up. Stand in the right. So much so that the chest lifts. Maintain it as you turn your left leg out and feel that left arm rolls back into your left leg just like it did in Padmasana. Now exhale, stretch out through the left leg, mound of the foot presses away to really turn the lights on in the body, right? Inner left leg lengthens to the mound of that left big toe, lift the chest, breathe. And then release. Okay, doing that just one more time. You can do it in the middle of the room or you can do it at a wall, your choice. Let's see, now I will try and mirror you. I forget sometimes when I'm on camera. So you're gonna lift your right leg up first. Stand in the left leg. Turn the right leg out to the right. Right, now that left leg being firm matters more. And push out through the mound of the right big toe. Lift the gaze a little bit. Feel how the lift of the gaze helps lift that pranic action inside. And then release. So when the legs are properly awakened in this pose, the outer hips firm to the midline. Left leg up. Stand in that right leg. Turn the left leg out. And go on and stretch out through that left leg. Mound of the foot presses away. Firm the outer hips in and lift through the center chest to lift from inside. All the way up from the pelvic floor. And then bend and release. Ardha Prasarita Ekapadasana. Watch for the first round. So we're utilizing Uttanasana that we've already done. However, this time we're going to lift one leg. So sometimes they call this a standing splits or something like that. But I want to point something out before we do all together. So that is, when you come in to Uttanasana, it's going to be kind of like a half Uttanasana. Fingertips on the floor under your shoulders. Remember, it's not these legs. It's those legs. My tailbone is in as opposed to hanging out behind me. That will make all the difference in the world. It will give you a lift from inside. Now, we'll take a breath and you'll lift your right leg. And when I lift that leg up, exhale, I'm going to bend forward in Uttanasana over my left leg, pressing up through my right mound of my big toe. But here's the thing. The action is in your left leg. You want to drive the left leg down in order to rebound this right leg up. It's not about how high you lift that leg, but it's about how you work with your standing leg to build that rebound. Okay, let's see how that works. Voluntarasana. Exhale, bring the hands under your shoulders, roll the side ribs forward. Firm the outer ankles, outer hips in to get that lift of your inner ankles up the inner leg. Now, lift your right leg up to about hip height. Take a breath and with your exhale, lengthen down into your left foot as you walk your hands back so the mound of your right big toe ascends. The energy in your left leg draws up the inner left leg and all the way through the mound of your right big toe. Then bring that right leg back down. Inhale, come to standing, Tadasana. Other side, hands on the floor under your shoulders. Lift the inner legs, lengthen the side body. Now left leg up. Inhale. Now as you exhale, push into the right foot, walk the hands back. So the right heel, mound of the foot, all presses down to build the lift of the inner leg all the way through the mound of your left big toe. That maintains this outer right hip in, which gives buoyancy at the base. Release that left leg. Inhale, come on up. Tadasana. Bring the palms of the hands together for Namaskarasana. Interlock the fingers for Baddha. Lift up now. Make length in the body. Divide the body at the waist. Look for that lift at the pelvic floor. All the way up into the center chest. Change sides. So there's almost this infinite space inside. Tadasana. Ardha Uttanasana. Lengthen the side ribs. Exhale, lift the right leg as you walk the hands back. Mound of the right big toe ascends. Work with that standing leg so the outer left hip is in. Then right leg down, inhale, side ribs forward. Other side, left leg up, press into the right foot to lift the inner right leg all the way into the mound of your left big toe. Outer right hip in. Flow the side body downward. And then left leg down. Inhale, come on up. All right. So now with all of that, I hope you really found how it's the standing leg in all of those poses that has to stay dominant, okay? That's kind of in charge. Now we're going to use that as we come into Padmottanasana. So for the first round, I want you to have your back against the wall. Now, when you really get accustomed to Padmottanasana, the wall is not your friend. We're simply using it today to take the balance out of the first part of the pose, okay? So what you're going to do, just maybe watch me for the very beginning and then you'll see. So what you're going to do is you're going to lift through your left leg first. So I'm going to lift the left leg up. I'm going to hold the outer left ankle. Then I'm going to bend my right leg and pull the buttock flesh down the wall. This is why we're at the wall, okay? Pull the buttock flesh down. And both hands are under my left outer ankle, right? One's just on top of the other. And I'm making sure that my knee is at a 90 degree. So if you recall back to this pose we did earlier, Parsvakonasana, my knee's at a 90 degree. It's a similar situation. So bend the standing leg, lengthen the buttock down as you straighten the right leg. And feel how your outer left hip, left thigh turns out. You'll get that again if you slide the buttock down the wall. This ankle's lifting more and more towards your nose, or really towards your forehead. And circle it a few times. You see how I circle away and up and towards me, away and up and towards me. Away and up and towards me. Now you're just going to release that and do that, and we'll do it on both sides. So I'll do it with you again. Slide the back body down the wall. My feet are generously away from the wall, right? Lift the left leg, hold the outer ankle, bend your standing right leg, pull the buttock down, and circle that foot away and towards you. As you do that, feel how the thigh bone turns out and the outer hip descends. The knee should have no pain. You should feel the turn in your hip, your left hip. And just circle that leg towards you several times and you'll feel, wow, that left hip kind of warms up. Try and keep the ankle at the midline of your body and then release. Other side. Slide the buttock down the wall. Right hip down. Bring the right leg up. Try and get that ankle right in your midline. Bend your left leg. Pull the buttock flush down the wall again. Circle the leg away and up, away and up. Like you're going to bring that ankle up and touch your forehead. Right thigh turning away from you more and more. And then release that. Okay, now we're going to start with your left leg again. We're going to add on now. So you can just follow along. That's the great thing about video. If you don't get it, you can stop it and go back and replay it. But here we go. Left leg up now. Of course, bend the leg, pull the body down the wall, and hey, by the way, stand in your right leg. Roll that leg towards you, outer thigh towards the ground. Now, as you do that, lift the leg to its maximum. Use your right hand to hold the mounds of the foot and turn that region towards the ceiling. Keep the knee away from you and place your outer right foot. You have an arch there. Place the arch of your outer right foot against your left front thigh and hold the foot from beneath with your right hand. Now, if you notice what happens, your left leg wants to sink. Instead, put your back, your shoulders, your elbows against the wall. Stand in your right leg and bring your right hip or bring your hips and buttock away from the wall. The left inner leg to the inner knee should lengthen away from you and kind of towards the floor, but you're not trying to pull it down. You're trying to stand on your right leg more and more. So that as your inner left leg lengthens, your outer left hip firms and your outer right hip firms, and then you lift the chest. Release that side by just bringing the hips back to the wall and letting the legs go. So, second side, bend the knees, pull the buttock down. Use the wall while you've got it, okay? Lift your right leg. Now, the ankle will want to be over towards your left. Get it at your midline, buttock down, hold the ankle from beneath, start like you started the last time. A lot of the work is just being patient and not getting ahead of yourself. Now, you're going to keep the ankle at the midline. So your right knee goes over to the right a little. With your left hand, hold the mounds of the foot and bring the outer arch of your right foot to the very top left groin. Now, before you let that leg fall down or release down, stand in your left leg more. Lengthen your inner right leg to the inner knee. Keep holding with that left hand. Shoulders against the wall. Stand in your left leg more. Lift the chest so that as the inner right leg lengthens to the inner knee, the outer hip starts to firm. And so does, hopefully, your outer left hip because you're standing in your left leg. So that both outer hips are firm, which causes the pelvic floor and the tailbone to be in and lifted. And you lift the chest and you breathe here for a moment. And then hips to the wall, release that leg. Now we're going to do for a third and final time, I'm going to say come away from the wall. If you feel like it makes your body risky, if it feels like it makes a risk in the knees, then don't, just stay at the wall. No big deal, right? But the reason I say that the wall ultimately is not a good crutch to have is because you want to stand in your legs. And I've noticed a lot of people who use the wall indefinitely rely on it far too much. Without standing in your legs, your outer hips don't work and your knees will be at risk. Got it? So if you can, stand in the middle of the room. Okay. Left leg up. Stand in the right leg. Circle the leg so the heel comes in a little bit. Hold, and now you're going to try and bring your heel towards your navel. Your inner left leg is long. Let the leg unfold, but stand in that right leg. Your right hand holds the foot from beneath. Left hand comes to the left waist. Keep standing in your right leg. You can see I'm a little bit angled towards this is my right side. That's okay, because I want that right leg beneath me so the inner left leg can lengthen, shoulders back, lift the chest. This is as far as we're going today, but I want you to feel how the tailbone is in. There's a lift that comes from the pelvic floor to the chest. You should feel that you're making freedom in your hip, but not aggravating your knee. Okay? And then release, Tadasana. And part of that getting away from aggravating the knee, part of that is just time and working poses that lead up to this pose, right? And part of it is backing off. So other side. Heel lifts, knee at 90 degrees. Hold that leg kind of like a tray, all right? So you get that outer right hip to release down, stand in your left leg. Circle the leg up towards your head a little bit, okay? Now, when it's time to bring that leg in, lengthen your inner right leg away from you, heel towards your navel, let the leg turn open, stand in your left leg. There we go. Stand in the standing leg and lengthen the inner leg to the inner knee. Right hand can come to the right hip. Firm the outer hips to the midline so the tailbone is in, and you can lift from the base of the pelvic floor all the way up to the chest. And release. Tadasana. Utkatasana. Bring the palms together. Namaskarasana. And arms up. Lengthen out of the waist towards your pinky fingers. And now begin to bend the knees. Weight in the heels, lift through the shin bones. So you keep that tailbone in. Bend and lengthen up through the pinky finger edges. Tadasana. Firm the legs. Hands together. Ardha Namaskarasana. Utkatasana. Make an effort to stay upright. So all too frequently, we see Utkatasana done this way. Instead, start from Ardha Namaskarasana and then bend the legs gradually. So you keep the arms up. Lift through the shin bones so the tailbone is in. And gradually enter the pose. Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward dog. Walk your hands to your feet, come up. Now you'll either do downward dog once again, or if you can go upside down today, you go to a wall. We're going to kick up into handstand, Adho Mukha Vriksasana. So bring the shoulders over the wrists, walk the feet in. But now, hey, firm the outer ankles in, lift through the inner ankles, lift the heels up. So you already get that lift in the groins. Up you come. Now flow the buttock into the heels and spread the mounds of the foot. So you catch the tailbone in here as well. Lots of length. Keep looking for more and more length. And then come on down. Rest in soft Uttanasana. Once again, if you kick up easily with one leg, kick up with the other leg. If you're still working on kicking up, just work with the same leg.
Heels up, buttock up. Spread the mounds of the foot. Don't worry about the heels leaving the wall. Rather, broaden your heels against the wall to take the tailbone in. Soft Uttanasana. You should always keep the feet on the same surface. And then release and come on up. Salamba Shirshasana, headstand. If you're not going upside down today, take Supta Virasana. So at this level, you should understand Shirshasana, headstand. I will say interlock your fingers to the webbing. Bear weight on the outer wrists. Elbows, shoulders distance apart. Walk in and bring the head down. Then as you're ready, come on up. If you are not familiar with Shirshasana, I'm not so much teaching it in this class. So look for a class where I do teach it so that you can learn it. Don't just make the shape, because there's prana here too. And it's essential that you find it so that the neck is safe. Okay? Forgot to get my clock out to time this. It's not going to be a long Shirshasana, maybe 3 minutes. Once you're up, separate the feet by about hips distance and push the buttock flesh into your heels. So just like when you were dragging the buttock flesh down the wall, now it should go up towards your heels instead of down. Look to maintain that slowly. Bring your feet together, because if you move fast, you'll lose the lift of the buttock. Then spread the mounds of the foot. Feel how the thighs can move back. Maintain the tailbone in and bear weight on your outer wrists. Breathe into the side body and settle your gaze. When you gaze forward, see that you aren't necessarily looking towards the floorboard nor the ceiling, but somewhere in between. The outer corners of the elbows should feel like they flow forward in the direction of your gaze. Lengthen the frontal thighs up towards the mound of the foot so the frontal groins are open and spacious. Keep the shoulders lifted thanks to the forearms down. Thanks to the lift in your biceps. About another minute here. Of course, if you need to be against a wall, you should be against a wall. And take your time, but within the next minute, come on down and rest in child's pose. You can come down by bending the knees and taking the knees to your chest and touching down, or you can take the legs straight away from you to bring the toes to the ground, buttock flowing to your heels. In any case, touch down gently. Child's pose. Bring the hands under the shoulders, press the floor away, and come on up. Now go ahead and open your mat up again. And once you've done that, lie on your back and hug the knees in. So sort of right back in a child's pose to some degree. Dvipada Pavana. Now, if you're on your menstrual cycle, or if you have abdominal issues like a hernia or anything like that going on, you'll just put your feet on the ground and cross your legs at the shin bones and take the arms overhead for Supta Swastikasana. Okay. Otherwise, from hugging your legs in, you're going to take the arms up and overhead, shoulder blades on the back, palms face the ceiling. You can hook your thumbs if you wish, right? If you want to get a little more traction on the arms, that can be useful. Now feel how, as your legs are bent, you can descend the abdomen back towards the spine. The lower back spreads against the ground. Keep your side waist down and extend the legs up to a 90-degree angle for Ardha Prasarita Padasana. 90 degrees. So do have your ankles over your hips as much as possible. You know, for a lot of us, it's tempting to be way in. If your legs have to be further away from you, you might use a strap there. But just be there for a little bit of time, keeping the side waist down. Low back long. Then take your hands to the outer edges of your feet. Now work to bring the legs back up again. Now the legs will be closer to you. Now, if the hips cannot stay down, and if the legs have a hard time straightening, you just do this with 2 belts. So you have 2 little extenders there on your feet, and then they can come further away and it'll be more doable. Otherwise, you hold your outer feet, shoulder blades on the back. Open the legs like Upavishta, buttock towards the heels. Then press the mounds of the foot away from you so that you can feel your frontal groins, your outer groins, and your inner groins all flow away from you. Neck relaxed. Baddha legs, so feet together. Lift your head and chest and roll again, this length of the inner leg to the inner knee. Find that length to roll the outer groins away from you as you lift the chest, feet towards your head. And then repeat it. Ardha Prasarita Padasana, legs apart, inner legs long, and then feet together, but inner thigh lengthening to the inner knee as you lift your chest. Release back, hug the legs in. Then roll yourself onto your side, come up. Now, we're going to get a couple blankets. So have one blanket just to lie on your mat for cushion. And we're going to take Gomukhasana legs and arms. So it's full Gomukhasana. Have another blanket.
So you'll bring your knees together, shin bones together. And we're going to learn to sit in Gomukhasana. So I'm going to turn my back so that you can see what I do with my legs, okay? So now I start in Vajrasana just with my feet and ankles together. When you do that, we descend the low back down and we just rest for a moment so the whole side waist is long. The mounds of the foot, right in here, should be able to spread here. So the outer ankles are in. Now from there, you're going to lift up and bring your left knee directly behind your right knee as your right foot moves to your left. Now, I'm just getting my legs on the blanket. And from there, you see, this is my left foot. I want to keep that foot pointing straight back. And I sit down on my left heel. Now, this is what the foot looks like. What I'm going to recommend that you do is to take a blanket and fold it in half. And you just put that blanket between your heel and your buttock bones. The heel should come just basically at the perineum there, at the base of the pelvic floor. Then when you press down on that left shin, you see if I don't do anything, this is a pose with no prana, everything's sinking into my hips. But I'm going to press that bottom shin down. The outer hip's firm and I get a lift from the base all the way to my chest, and there's prana. So that's that turning on of the life force in the pose. So this is the legs. So go ahead and set that up with the right leg on top. I'm going to turn around. I am not mirroring you. So this is also my right leg on top. So it'll look like the opposite side that you're doing, okay? So once you do that, press that bottom left shin bone down, tailbone's in. Now, the right leg's on top. That means your right arm's going to be on bottom. So you're going to take your right hand behind you into Gomukhasana, left arm straight up. Hook the fingers. Press the shin bone down that you're sitting on and lift into both armpit chests, especially this right one. Then release that side. Come forward to hands and knees. We're just going to change the side so your right knee's right behind your outer left knee. You're going to sit back on your right heel, but get that blanket. So the blanket's between your heel and your buttock. Don't sit heavy. Sit lifted. Press into that right shin bone so the outer hips are firm and the lift comes from the base. Left hand's going to come behind you now. Right arm up. Press down through the bottom shin bone. Lift from the base. Relax the shoulders away from the ears. And then release that. So set one of the blankets aside. Just keep that blanket under your knees. We're going to take a little bit of a lolasana. So have 2 blocks. So you just place those blocks on low beside you. Again, I'm not going to mirror you here because you won't be able to see that much anyway. Bring your left ankle on top of your right ankle. So when I do that, what I mean is like that. Left ankle on top of the right ankle. Then you're going to place those bricks right beside you, kind of at your outer thighs. And you're going to lean forward, press into your toes to lift your knees up. Then exhale, lift your ankles up towards your buttock bones and hover. And then set yourself back down. I'll show you from the side. Let's do the other side. Bring your right ankle on top of your left ankle. Have the bricks to start. Now, right about at thigh, middle thigh, lean forward and exhale. Press your toes, lift your knees. And exhale, lift the heels towards the buttock bones, lift up. and set yourself back down. If you find that's easy, you can get rid of the bricks. Left ankle over right ankle now. Hands on the floor beside your outer thighs. Lean forward and lift the knees to your chest. Take a breath and lift the feet. Then set down. Other side. Right ankle on top of left. Exhale, lift the knees. Lift the feet. And come down. Ooh, Dandasana. Be in full Dandasana, buttock towards the heels, and spread the mounds of the foot to lift through the side body. Salamba Sarvangasana, shoulder stand. So, get yourself set up. If you're not doing shoulder stand, take Supta Baddha Konasana, bound ankle pose. Have 3 blankets for your shoulders for the most part, unless you know that you have a special setup. If you do not have a slick surface beneath you like me, then you should put down a blanket for your head. And in many cases, that's just a nice thing to do no matter. And then place your blankets, the nice folded edge for your shoulders. So let's see, I'm in the midst of building a tutorial for shoulder stand. And that is just going to be on my channel so that if someone doesn't understand it, they can always go to that, because there's so much to know about shoulder stand. I really can't teach it from the beginning, every class. That would drive everyone nuts. So if you don't understand shoulder stand, hopefully those tutorials will be up soon. You'll go and look at them and learn the pose there. Have a strap for your arms. We're going to be taking shoulder stand in a few variations, but not many. So lie back, shoulders on the floor. I'm sorry, shoulders on the blankets, head on the floor. Please don't turn your head in this pose. Lift the hips, bring your arms behind you and put that strap around your elbows, just above the elbows. Palms down, so the upper arms turn out, but the palms face down on the bolster. And take the legs overhead into Halasana. Place the hands on the back body, preferably on the flesh. I have wires, sorry. Flow the body to the heels, but spread the mounds of the foot. And as you're ready, come on up. Shoulder stand. Push up through the heels with the legs apart to begin. Then bring the feet together and lift through the mounds of the foot. Flow the shoulders towards your elbows and bring weight into the shoulders, through the upper arm, and into the elbows as you walk your hands up the back. Keep the buttock lifted to the heels and spread the mounds of the foot to move the tailbone in and move the front thighs back. Lengthen the frontal thighs up towards your ankles. Then turn both legs out to the sides and separate the legs wide like Upavishta Konasana. Flow the buttock to the heels and again spread the mounds of the foot. Then bring the feet together into Baddha Konasana. Lift the tailbone to the heels, pull the heels towards the tailbone. Then straighten the legs again into shoulder stand. And then again, turn the legs out and take the legs wide. Upavishta Konasana legs. Then Baddha Konasana legs. Then Salamba Sarvangasana. Lengthen the frontal thighs up so the frontal groin can open and the tailbone moves in. As the tailbone moves in, still the outer thigh flows in the direction of the head. Now we're going to begin to bring the legs back into halasana. So flow the buttock to the heels, bring the toes to the ground gently, remove the strap and take the arms overhead towards the foot. Then wrap the arms around the legs for Karna Pidasana, the knees bend towards the ears. Keep the shoulders on that blanket. Then again, straighten the legs. Bring the hands back onto the back and separate the legs wide for Supta Konasana. Then take the left leg to the right leg for Parsvahalasana. Flow the buttock to the heels, spread the mound of the foot, and take your left outer ankle towards the right foot so the legs are together. Then back to Supta Konasana and take your left foot to the right foot. Again, your outer right ankle hugs into the midline. Then come back to Halasana. Interlock the fingers and roll the thumbs to the ground as you press the palms away from you. We're bringing the legs back up for Salamba Sarvangasana 2. The outer wrist press down towards the bolster. Then bring the legs down and change the cross of your fingers. Keep that inner wrist region pressing down towards the bolster as you lift through the frontal thighs. And then release the legs back down. Take the arms overhead and look back towards your fingertips as you roll the body down, vertebra by vertebra. Once your hips touch down, bend the knees, feet on the floor. Roll the shoulders back and rest with the shoulders on the ground. Okay, and then roll yourself onto the right hand side. All right, so set most of those props aside and get a block and a strap for Setubandha Sarvangasana. So again, just like shoulder stand, there is a tutorial. There's several tutorials on how to build Setubandha Sarvangasana. I won't teach that every class, but it is a very commonly practiced pose. So if you're not real certain how to do it, it's really best to watch those tutorials. But we're doing Setubandha today with a brick. It's probably the way I most frequently teach this pose, but it's done differently too, and I do it differently for different classes. But today we're here. So I'm using a tall brick. That doesn't mean everyone should. You should use what's appropriate for you and your practice. No matter where you are, take a moment with the knees bent, inner heels down. Relax the abdomen and lift the chest. Turn the upper arm bones out. Now I like to use my strap here. You could use the sides of your mat to turn your arm bones. It's really just, a preference. And then begin to straighten the legs. Heels away, buttock to the heels. Then mound of the foot presses away. Thighs down, tailbone in. Lift the chest and breathe into the side body. Again, energize the legs to build that pranic lift inside, to fill into the chest cavity. Let the temples be soft and the gaze flow inward.
Tailbone deepening as the frontal groins open. Embed the upper kneecap into the leg. Last little bit here. And then bend the knees. Lift the hips up and remove your brick. Come down, remove the strap if you're using one. Then turn yourself onto the side, sit up. You are going to either take swastikasana, which is how we started, or Padmasana only if that is something you already know. I'm not teaching it at this time. Or half Padmasana, you could be right here. And once you're in whichever pose you prefer that is correct for you, bring the brick in front of you and come forward and rest your head. It's not about how deeply you bend forward, but rather this is about releasing the back from that previous pose. As well as sort of sealing the pranic energy inward. Change sides. And then come on up. Lie on your back for Shavasana. So when you lie back, remember to lengthen the low back. Extend out through the legs and turn the arm bones out. Close the eyes. Soften the skin across the scalp and the face. And allow the consciousness to drop more deeply inward. Notice the weight of the body on the earth. And look to lengthen your exhalation as if you were following that exhalation to the place inside you where it ends. And as you wait there, the next inhale will spring forth. Wait again for that next long, smooth, complete exhalation. Notice the skin of the face, particularly around the eyes and the jaw, can be soft. Make space in the mouth. And take just a few moments to surrender there completely and totally. Letting go of the body bit by bit. Letting go of that busy brain that plans and remembers. And instead just experience being right here, right now. And then bring the hands to the front of the body. Connect to the feeling of the inhalation, bringing you back. And then bend the left leg, reach your right arm overhead, then roll yourself onto the right hand side. Use your left hand to press the floor away, and come on back up. All right, you guys, that's it for today. Namaskar. I hope to see you again. Again, please leave me any questions you might have, and I'll see you next time.